All right, let's talk about HBO next.
Okay.
Rachel, I'm watching the fight last night. I'm sorry. Rachel! Rachel, I'm watching Canelo Alvarez, a great fight with Golovkin. I mean, it was a close fight. Like, if you had it 7-5 either way, I get it. You know, the people that are paid to do said Canelo won 2 out of 3 of them. None of them had a draw. Majority decision, perfect result. But then I'm sitting there and I'm listening to HBO talk. They're talking at me while I'm watching the fight. Got friends over, and I'm kind of embarrassed because Jim Lampley is telling the story of this fight as it happens, and he's one of the best ever to do it. But on this night, he was telling a story that was not happening. And I was embarrassed because my friends who already, they were there, and like, this is the first time they came over for a fight, and they were watching the fight, and they're like, I don't think Lampley knows what he's talking. This guy, they don't know his name, but they're like, this isn't the fight we're seeing. We're seeing Canelo win this fight, and Jim Lampley is just making up stories about how Golovkin with the left hand, and then Canelo would immediately would answer nothing from Lampley. I don't like it. I don't know what it's about. I don't know if it's. I don't understand it, but I don't like it, and I think it ruins the experience for fight fans because people, and you can see it on Twitter. Go on Twitter and think about these people that are watching the fight at home. These are the same people that are also tweeting the whole time while the fight's going on. So they're looking at their phone, they're listening, they look up, see what they want to see, and they look back down, they're blah, 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 blah. And then they get into the fight, and you have people like Stephen A. Smith is a good example after the fight, or even Teddy Atlas, who I love, but her telling people that was a robbery. If you think Canelo Alvarez's majority decision win over Gennady Golovkin is a robbery, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't care if your name is Teddy Atlas and you've been in the sport for 1,000 years. Stephen A. Smith, you already don't know a lot about boxing, so it's fine. But listen, just watch the fight and open your mind up to what's actually happening in the fight. Lampley didn't do it at HBO. I think the other two guys, Roy Jones is always just Roy Jones, and I thought that Max was actually the most balanced of all the people who could see the fight. It's just hard if you're in a group. Like if Rachel and I are watching a fight together and we talk about it the whole time, if we had to talk the whole time about it, we might suffer from groupthink where we think we're seeing one thing but the other. But it bothers me, and I think it's a detriment to the sport overall because then after fights like this, which were close wins, a close win for Canelo Alvarez, he deserved to win the fight. Andre Ward got it right after the fight, said that Canelo started the combinations and then also finish the combinations. Canelo won the fight, but when you have like people that are just like throwing out outrageous whatever, it's partly a product of them watching it on HBO and hearing Lampley tell the story.
I do agree that it's hard when you have casual boxing fans over to watch the fight.
Super cash.
Or non-boxing fans who have never seen any boxing. But when you have, or non-boxing fans over, and then they hear things, they can tell that it's biased, that the way the fight is being called. And the thing is, as boxing fans, we just take it, because we know that's how it is. And so we just accept it. So when I'm watching it, and I hear, the HBO team, clearly call around just for Golovkin, even though Canelo did just as much in the round, I recognize that, and I see it as an error on their part. I don't know why they do it, but they do, and so I just let it go. But other people, like in our living room, were kind of put off by it because they're like, what are they seeing that I'm not seeing? Because that's not what it looked like to me. Yeah. And sometimes you can just be wrong. People can see different things in a fight, which is fine. It's just that we know as boxing fans this happens often with commentating teams. And so it is a detriment to the sport.
Yeah. This is a detriment to the experience of people that are watching the fight because it gives them just one side of a story that's so you could say, I think Golovkin, I don't know, I think Canelo won the fight. But it's not outside of the realm of possibility that somebody could score for Golovkin and be like, okay, well you gave these close rounds to Golovkin and so he won, 7-5. That's fine. That would make sense. I wouldn't be like, this is wrong or whatever. Yeah. That's just the nature of scoring. But you have to balance what you see, not what you hear from Jim Lampley and the other people at HBO. What you see with, hey, here are three people who are considered the best judges in the sport. One of them had it a draw, and the other two had it for Canelo. Canelo won the fight.
I can't even like do this because you're so animated about it that
This is what makes good film.